Okay.
Eagle looking great. Your go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Sci-Fi Wise Guys podcast. I am your ever apologetic host, Anthony.
And I am the ever undying host, Chris Vorhees.
And today, that's doxing yourself. Today, on the last episode of Horror in Space Month, do it, Chris.
Horror in space.
In space. I wanted to come a little bit more of a somber tone. I wanted to bring it down a little bit, and I wanted to make a formal apology. I think we're our content creation arc. I don't really think of it as content creators or podcasters, but it's close. Our content creation arc, Christopher, has reached a new level in which I am giving a public apology. I'm going to put some funny music over it. I'm going to put the rain on the pane of glass filter over me saying, I'm very sorry, Christopher. You've done a lot to me that deserves retribution, and I haven't forgotten those things, but I feel like making you watch the 2001 American science fiction slasher film Jason X was maybe just a step too far. I hope you can forgive me.
Well, is this your first time seeing this movie?
No. But
So
in
you
my
wanted-
defense,
So you wanted to do it again, is what you're saying.
my defense, I did not remember it.
So
I was 19 and I think there were girls in the room. I did not remember this movie.
I thought I had seen this movie, but I apparently had not actually ever seen it. So I watched it for the first time today. That was fun.
I'm sure it was.
Yes, Jason X, you already said it, 2001. American science fiction slasher film directed by Jim Isaac, written by Todd Farmer, starring Lisa Doig, Lisa Ryder,
Doig.
whatever her name might be, Lisa Ryder, Chuck Campbell, and Kane Hodder in his fourth and final appearance as Jason Voorhees. No relation.
That's good. Yeah. Something I didn't know. So I've seen this movie before. I saw this movie. I was couch surfing in 2005, and as was tradition back then, there was almost always somebody. If you had more than two people living in an apartment, if you had more than two dudes living in an apartment, somebody had one of those CD binders full of DVDs. And that's so like I see you nodding along, Chris. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
A few years after that, you had your friend who just had piracy. Back when it was both easier and harder at the same time.
Harder to find someone that would be willing to do it.
Yeah, I think we could talk. This isn't a piracy review podcast.
I don't want our ISP sending me letters in the mail telling me that.
Sure. I never got a letter. I mean, it would get shut down and I'd get an angry email. But I only needed to download every once in a while. I remember I didn't have internet for a little while. I was moving between places and I settled in a new apartment. Now I'm off the rails. We'll save that story for later. Back to the story. Couch surfing in 2005. And they were a big horror fan. So they had a bunch of just low rent horror movies. Like I remember I watched Fear.com, which by the way is pretty bad. Bad. I
saw Fear.com in theaters when I worked at the theater.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay money for it either.
Well, I had to screen it, so I didn't pay. I was paid.
Okay, that would be one way of doing it. Anyway, so I remember watching Jason X, and the only thing I really remembered about this movie was maybe like 30 minutes into it, the first time I saw it, however long ago that was, realizing that I had not seen another Jason movie. Like this was my first, I say Jason movie. I hadn't seen anything in the Friday the 13th franchise. I watched Jason X and I watched Freddy vs. Jason fairly close together, like within a month or two of each other. So this was my first Friday the 13th film. And let me tell you, They put their worst foot forward. They really, like, we've watched some trash, Christopher. We've watched Angels Fallen, which is getting a sequel. We've watched Alien Warfare, which is mixed reviews. We've seen The Beyond, right? We watched whatever that movie is where Worf teaches a dude that he's an alien and people's soul are the manna of the earth. I can't remember the name of it. It's not important. And yet somehow, Christopher, Jason X takes the cake.
Yeah.
What happens in this movie?
I just want to point out that whatever movie the movie that you described, we're not sure exactly what happened is the first time I think a professional has ever clapped back.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that, but yeah, yeah. He listened to our review and then told us that we need to work on our editing, which is always fair, always working on that, and our fonts. Yeah. Not sure what fonts are for a podcast. I'm pretty sure this is an auditory medium. I guess now that we're doing some videos, you know what? I'm going to start changing the fonts up just to see if I should get a bunch of fonts together, email the guy and be like, hey, can you help me pick out a font? No, let's get some facts out of the way. Let's get some facts out of the way.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Over here on IMDb, this is sitting at a much too high 4.4 out of 10 stars with 60,000 ratings. The blurb reads, Jason Voorhees is cryogenically frozen at the beginning of the 21st century and is discovered in the 25th century and taken to space. He gets thawed and begins stalking and killing the crew of the spaceship that's transporting him. Not going to lie, in the first 20 minutes of this movie, I was worried that I had hallucinated them going into space and that it was going to ruin Horror in Space Month. But they do eventually get to space.
Evil gets an upgrade.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not showing this. Let's look at this poster. Hold on. We were showing it at the beginning, but
like it's not a terrible
really poster. It's a really, really good poster, except for like I think Lexa Doig is naked in this poster. I don't think she's naked in the film at all. Yeah. So I'm gonna hide this poster, and just where you can see, I see here at the bottom of it, it says jasonx.com. So I'm opening a new tab, Chris.
Ooh.
I'm going to jasonx.com. I'm clicking enter.
This website is currently not available.
Oh, yeah. Darn it. Okay. It's a warnerbrothers.com landing. Moving on to Rotten Tomatoes.
Let's go on to GoDaddy and see if we can
Let's
get that
see.
domain.
19% tomato meter with a 25% audience score. Critics consensus. Jason goes to the future, but the story is still stuck in the past. That's clever. That's real clever critics consensus. I bet they're real happy about that, whoever they are. Oh man. Metacritic.
You can get Jason. You can get jasonsx.com for 1 penny.
Ooh, maybe.
Just slide that sucker right up next to wolfpedia.net.
Wolfpedia.net. Gosh. Jason X Metascore of 25, generally unfavorable. User score of 7.5, generally favorable. Is this a joke, Christopher?
76% of Google users like this movie.
Hold on. Let's see. Letterboxd. Okay, Letterboxd down to 2.1, so a 4.2 overall. Wait, this is not a blurb. This is way too much. Okay. Why is it a 7.5 on user score on Metacritic?
Because the people that want to watch Friday the 13th movies are going to rate this thing really high.
I don't know what this guy's saying, but I don't think I agree with it.
It's in Cyrillic.
Yeah. Let's see.
Can we translate this?
You can try.
Translate section to English.
Oh, here it is. They're jokes. Here's a 10 out of 10. This movie revolutionized the teenage murder genre by going into space. Steven Spielberg took a wild turn with this entry, and it clearly paid off, earning him 40 Oscars and $20 at the box office. Okay.
So I'm not going to read the entire Cyrillic article or whatever.
Oh, sure.
But he says, finally, they came up with the idea of freezing the criminal. Let's say, I immediately remember Destroyer 1993. So what is Destroyer 1993? I think they might be thinking of Demolition Man. which came out in 1993.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of that every time somebody gets cryogenically, I mean, I think of it every time somebody gets cryogenically frozen.
Yeah.
You mean like a Demolition Man?
Yeah.
Oh man! All right, I've kind of given away the goat with the entry here, with the intro, I should say. I did not care for this film. Hated almost every moment of it. I laughed. I laughed at things I don't think were supposed to be funny, and I laughed at things that I think were supposed to be funny, but for completely different reasons than they intended. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say that this isn't horror. It's a comedy. It's a gory comedy.
Okay.
When that guy gets screwed, though, that was pretty good. That might be the best part of the whole movie.
He's screwed.
Who says that about their friend who's dead in front of them? Who says that, Christopher?
They were just sitting. They were just sitting on that. They were like, man, like they first went in there, right? So like, they're grunts, and they're like they first go on the ship. They're getting a tour. And the sex bot's like, hey, this is, the engineering section. This is the cargo section. And they're like, that person walked up to that object and was like, oh man, I hope someone falls on this, because then I can say they're screwed.
Oh my God. What did you think of this movie, Chris? Why? Tell me what you thought about it. What were your initial thoughts and opinions? And tell the people why it's your favorite Friday the 13th movie.
So I've got a real problem with a lot of these slasher movies.
Okay.
Like Nightmare on Elm Street, I think is a little different because Freddy invades your dreams. At least he used to. I don't know if he still does or not. But he like invades your dreams and then kills you in your dream, right?
He's not real though, right? So like he doesn't.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying in the movie.
No, yeah, sure.
He invade, like he makes you think that you're awake, and that's where he gets you, kills you. So that's a little different because you're subconscious. You know what I mean? Like it's whatever, right?
Sure.
My problem with a lot of these slasher movies, like the unkillable killer, is that in order for them to function, everyone has to be a complete idiot. Every single person involved. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be the heroine, the hero, the first person murdered. Everyone has to be an idiot. Every single person involved. So I can't really take these movies seriously because, like, it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback and say, well, this is what you should have done. This is what you shouldn't have done. All I can say is that if I open if I open a room and there's someone laying on the floor with a lacerated abdomen, okay, and then I look over and there's a cryogenic pod, and in that pod is a guy holding what appears to be a large bladed weapon, and then there's a hole in that cryogenic pod right around the height of this person's abdomen, the last thing I would do is open the pod and take the person out.
You mean like any sort of basic investigative skills?
Yeah. No, it's just I'm surrounded by morons. That's what I feel like. Dark Helmet. I'm just surrounded by morons. I got a lot of problems. One, why did Homegirl walk up to the pod when Jason was in it? And why did she almost repeat her mistake 45 minutes later when he's trying to break down a door and she walks up to the door? Like, are you serious? Like, the fact that she survived that instance? Like, I'm sitting there like, this is what a really shitty movie would do this. And then they didn't do it. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't mean you're not a shitty movie. But like his first kill okay, let me back up. So 400 plus years passes in the time between when this girl was frozen and Jason into when they are found.
Right.
Great. So in that time, one person knows who Jason Voorhees is, right? That's it. Okay. Yeah. So like, I'm not saying like with the proliferation of true crime as it is in 2023, I'm just going to assume that the arc of this movie contains that. I find that hard to believe that no one is like, hey man, this guy looks a lot like Jason Voorhees, right? Homeboy knows what a hockey mask is. When he was on Wikipedia, he was like, no. When they find him, they're like, that's a hockey mask.
Well, but they didn't recognize it right away. The one person's like, oh, it's a hockey mask for some sport that was banned in 2024. Like, I get that. But what I'm saying is, if you know what a hockey mask is,
you probably know who Jason Voorhees is because he's probably the most famous user of the mask.
Ooh.
Like I'm just saying.
Casey Jones?
The most famous person who used the mask.
All right.
He probably been in more movies. Probably been in more games.
Probably.
I don't know.
More,
like
maybe not more comics, but
it's just a comedy of errors all the way around. Sending your military squad, right? Like, so I get that greed is a major motivating factor into how everything breaks down in this film, right?
Yeah.
Homeboy is like, I could make a lot of cash. I can make a lot of money just because he's an attraction, right? Again, he had a machete. Why isn't he restrained?
Well, it's like, so they think he's dead. They think he's dead.
They can bring people back to life.
So they think he's too far gone. They mention like, oh, he's never coming back. Like he's done. And he does come back on accident at that point.
I don't care.
Right? No. He wakes up on his own then, right? It's the end where they've blown him to bits and the nanobots rebuild him.
Yeah. No, I just...
Yeah.
He's not... he cut someone's arm off.
On accident, yeah. Like he just fell over in it.
Yeah. And they're like, cool. No worries. We'll reattach it. But that's the only thing that we're going to do. Like, I don't like... in order to be killed in one of these movies, I think you have to be a moron. And I mean, like... I think that's part of the appeal, right? Because like we get to see a bunch of idiots being killed. And I mean, at least Busta Rhymes didn't kick his ass in a house on fire. Okay. Like at least he at first got taken out by a sex bot.
Well, I don't think it was necessarily primarily a sex bot. I'm going to defend Lisa Ryder's role choices. I do love every scene where he is like, where her head has been chopped off or whatever, which her head falls off. I don't know if you know. I rewound it like 4 times. I don't know if you caught it.
He just punched it off.
Her head pops off right before, like when his hand is like this far away from it, and the head goes, ooh. Every time he's like holding the head, but it's literally just like her laying weird, and he's got his hand, like his arm around her neck to make it look like she's headless. Hilarious.
That guy Chuck Campbell was in 45 episodes of Stargate Atlantis.
Yes. Well,
as Chuck the technician.
Lisa Ryder and Lexa Doig, I think it's Doig, were both in Andromeda together. Mm-hmm. And Lexa Doig played the computer. So it's just a very interesting swap of their two roles there. You're absolutely right. I do have to.
Why didn't they cut his head off?
Why didn't they?
In the movie, they say we spent 2 years trying to execute him. They electrocuted him and they hung him.
Firing squad, I think they mentioned that. Yeah.
Why didn't they cut his head off?
I have no idea. It's obvious that it can't happen.
Like maybe it's because I'm a sick, twisted person. All I'm saying is that this dude killed 20 plus people over the course of however many years, if not more.
It was 200, I think they said was the body count.
Yeah, 200, yeah. I would have drawn and quartered him.
Yeah. I
would have chopped him up into tiny little bits and buried them in cement so where no one could ever find him.
That actually reminds me, there's in an early season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there's a demon that is whatever the indestructible or invincible or undying or whatever his title is. He can't die. And his cult of followers, what had happened was that he had gotten chopped up into separate pieces, and all those pieces had gotten flown all around the earth or taken all around the earth and buried or whatever. So like there's like half an arm over there, his head is over there, thousands of miles. I'm like exactly like what you're saying. Yeah. Just chop it into pieces, keep it separate, even though they're all alive. He gets reconstituted, and he's like, "You cannot kill me." He starts boasting, and then Buffy just pulls out a freaking rocket launcher. It just blows them to bits, and they take all the bits and they rebury all the bits. And I was like, "Yeah, this is exactly what you should do.
Launch him into the sun.
Like he's in space now, right? Like, is he? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Look, I will say I did enjoy that Lexa Doig's character, Rowan, or however you pronounce it. She has like a good head on her shoulders the whole time. You act like you say like, everyone's an idiot. Like, I don't think she was really an idiot. For most of the movie, she's the one who tells them, no, we have to freeze this guy right away.
Yeah.
What do you mean he's here? Show me his body. I don't believe you. Boom, dead lab assistant, right?
Yeah.
Like I think she's like one step ahead. I mean, barely makes it out, but it is what it is. Everyone who is in this movie should be ashamed of themselves.
Even David Cronenberg.
Especially David Cronenberg.
Is he the first? I mean, I can only assume. Is he the first director that's made an appearance as both director and actor? Because I don't think Mr. Suits has been in any of our.
Oh, like in our podcast?
Yeah.
No. Mythica 4. The lady who had the airships and was dropping bombs off him. I think that was the director of the film. Maybe she was a writer. Maybe she was something. I think like they were. Both of those people were involved in the film in other ways. So
yeah,
and that was the same movie. David Cronenberg trying to lend credence to Jason X. I swear to God. No, in all seriousness, like the plot is bad. The idea on paper is interesting. Like, let's do a Jason. Let's do it. Let's do a Friday the 13th movie. Let's do it in space, right? Let's do sci-fi stuff with it. I'm cool with it. Like Alien. I mean, Alien's not quite as slashery, right? But it's very, very close. And I know that like Friday the 13th actually came out after Alien, so it's almost like a full circle as far as that goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did it, so it can be done. Jason is. I think the problem is that Jason's boring. He's an incredibly boring villain. He has no personal connection with any of the people. At the beginning, like the first, I'm talking about, of course, the later movies, because this is the 10th one. I mean, the first one, he's not even killing anybody, right? He's just some undead thing. But there's no connection. He's just killing people because he can. They're not even, I mean, I guess they went out of their way to show that they're all sinners or whatever. Like they're all, if I recall correctly, in the first Friday the 13th, it's actually his mother who's killing everybody because some camp counselors had let him drown because they were fornicating instead of watching him. Like, in the middle of the night when the kid was supposed to be sleeping and they have no way of knowing that he's up and out of his cabin because they don't check in on him every 20 minutes. Whatever. She starts murdering people. So like there's some of that, but for the most part, he's just like, I'm here, I kill. Thank you. And it's like that's incredibly boring, especially since he's just a big dude with a machete. It's not like the Halloween movies or like you've already mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, even Alien, like, yeah, for the most part, it feels like we don't really know what its motivations are, mostly just to exist essentially. But that's the whole point of that movie. It's Alien, right? And so it's just kind of boring. I mean, he doesn't run, he doesn't do anything. He just kind of shows up and those type of like supernatural, like he just, you turn and he's standing there. Like, how did he get out of the bindings at the beginning of the movie? No idea. But it's Jason, so he does it. I'm like, no, it's too boring. You can't do that with science fiction. Like we need something else with it. I think this movie is literally the worst movie. I mean, out of the 5 we watched for Horror and Space Month, there's no contest for worst film. I mean, it's Jason X.
I think there's a reason why there hasn't been a Friday the 13th movie in almost 15 years. And I think for the same reason with Nightmare on Elm Street, right? It's just that there really isn't any reason for them to be around anymore. Like, and it's, I think part of it could be that they're still considered like not old horror, but just like, there's so many new things. Like the guy who played Jason, which I knew this was going to be a terrible movie when you look on Wikipedia and it says starring and it's him, no one else.
That's
so
fair.
If the star of the movie is the person who plays a character whose face you never see and never says a word, I think that says more than anything. But like, so he was Jason for a long time, but then he also started playing other similar killers. Like he was a character named Victor Crowley in a movie series called Hatchet,
which also stars
David Cronenberg.
No,
I know Robert Englund's in one of them.
I'm almost. I think he's in the first one. I'm almost 100%. Hatchet 2 or 3 stars one Jason Trost. Fairly certain.
Stars, or he's just in the movie.
I feel like let's see. I'm double checking it. I don't recall. I don't recall. I read about it. It's definitely not my type of film. I read about it.
But like, there's so many other, like, cinema has definitely changed, and we're the wrong type of podcast to explain that.
Oh,
but I'm just like, there's a reason why they don't make movies like this anymore, or at least there hasn't been one in over a decade. It's just that there's not really anything interesting about them. Like, I don't even know how they still manage to make Halloween movies. I think it's just because Jamie Lee Curtis is like, well, I need a new yacht. So yeah, go ahead, sign me up, son.
Yeah.
And I think Michael Myers, like, probably is more interesting because I think there's a lot, like, there's a lot there. Like, when you're just a kid who's born evil, like, I think that can be interesting. You know, he terrorizes one particular family, like, for the most part. Like, all the other movies where Jamie Lee Curtis and her family are involved really aren't that good. The aforementioned Busta Rhymes busting his ass.
I guess we found what he was. I can't do it. We found his weakness.
Yeah. It's really, really fast rapping. But I mean, like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You're gonna write like 3 songs in which you do really fast rapping and then make that part of your identity. What have you done lately?
Yeah.
I'm calling you out right now, publicly, Busta. Mr. Rhymes. Which is the whitest thing I've ever said in my god dang life.
But like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is another great example.
Yeah, but these are all films that came out in the 70s.
Right? No, but what I'm saying is,
what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
there aren't any more.
Just because they came, that was it. There's only so much you can do in that space. Like,
no, but they keep making Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies.
Sure.
Like, one came out in 2013, 2017, and 2022. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're able to make those movies because there's interesting things about Leatherface and that family. Like, it's not just silent guy walking around with a machete. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is about a really screwed up family who kills and eats people for fun. Like, I don't know. And then for some reason, Matthew McConaughey's in the second one.
Who knows?
That's the strangest movie appearance I think I've ever been. Like, I was watching the second one and I'm like, Mr. McConaughey?
Like, what? Wait, what?
Like, when the girl gets in his truck, he's like, all right.
Wow. Did you see the last Friday the 13th movie? Came out like 2009?
No.
I saw it in the theater. I remember enjoying it. It was a reboot. I remember liking it. It gets right to the point. If you're wanting like a more modern rendition of old slasher films, I think it's a pretty good choice. No, but you're right. I think the problem is that neither of us are into, like, I think I'm more into slasher films than any other type of horror, which isn't saying a whole lot, but we've chosen a very poor example of it. which it fits the confines of our podcast and our theme for the month, horror in space, because they're in space. And like I said, I'm very sorry. Not only is it bad, but it's also just not scary. And because even if the film was bad, I might still get some jump scares or something.
Right.
I mean, I had a couple of with the way that somebody died, but it was very, like, there were 2 of them. He froze that one girl's face off, and then the one guy gets screwed. Yeah. Everyone else is just pretty mundane.
I think part of the issue could be that, like, the slasher genre has evolved. Like, now it's what's that? The movie with the people you can kill anyone you want. You can do whatever you want for 24 hours.
Oh, Purge.
Yeah, The Purge. Like, I think that's like the modern.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, that's like the evolution of the slasher movie. It's just because it's gore.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of killing, but, like, instead of it just being a singular unstoppable killer, now it's like there's a method to the madness, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure. Did you ever see Happy Death Day? Highly recommend. It's a slasher film combined with like a Groundhog Day scenario.
It is a black comedy.
There's a murderer, and she keeps reliving the same day and dying to them, and she's trying to figure out who it is. But yeah, so it's a slasher film, dark comedy with Groundhog Day conceit. I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
Can we watch that instead of this? Next time I say, hey, let's watch a Friday the 13th movie, can we just rewatch this?
For our next list of horror movies, I would really like for us to do The Witch.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know if you've seen, but I think it's really good.
Can we
go back in time?
If we could, can we go back if for our next set of horror movies, can we watch Kazam?
I said horror, not terrifying. I'd like to give a shout out to some of these actors.
Yeah, let's do it.
That we spent how long? 40 minutes shitting on.
I don't think we. I mean, maybe a little.
Aforementioned Kane Hodder.
Yes,
I think he did a pretty good job for a silent guy in a mask. David Cronenberg, idiot of the movie.
Is he?
Off the bat, idiot of the movie.
Why? What did he do?
He's the reason the movie happens.
Wait, who?
He's Dr. Wimmer at the beginning, who doesn't order him to be frozen immediately.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Is it?
Yeah, that's David Cronenberg.
Hold on. I don't believe you. Hold on.
He's not the guy in he's not the 400-year-old guy or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I don't remember. I guess I just don't remember him. Right. I watched this movie. I just rewatched it. I don't remember there being a doctor at the beginning. Just the sergeant or whatever. Yeah.
Well, there's that guy who puts the sheet on his head and then somehow manages to die. But then she's like, "Well, I want to freeze him immediately," and he's like, "No, he can regenerate. We're gonna experiment on him," and then all hell breaks loose.
Okay.
Idiot of the movie.
Agreed.
Boyd Banks, who played Fat Lou, got the guy sitting in the chair, been in a bunch of stuff. That guy, definite that guy. Just a bunch of one episode appearances, 131 acting credits. Dude puts in the work. Shout out.
Wow. I love that headshot, or just not a headshot, but that's a great IMDb pick.
Peter Mensah, who played Brodsky. Big shout out. He's been in a bunch of stuff that I really like. He's in 300. He's the emissary who gets Spartan kicked into the hole in the ground.
Yeah,
but he's also in Avatar. Didn't know that. Couple things. True Blood.
Are there actors in Avatar? I thought it was all CGI.
Yeah, Dead Space, The Incredible Hulk. He's in a couple episodes of Enterprise.
I'm so sorry.
But yeah, no, shout out to him. And then I think last but not least, where is he? We already talked about Chuck Campbell. Where is, maybe this is him, Barna Morich? No, not him. That's soldier number 1. I'm trying to find the guy with the dreads. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly who you're talking about. I'm looking at the list.
I think it's Dov Tiefenbach. Tiefenbach, maybe?
Yeah, that looks like him.
Yeah. No, just
significantly less dreads in this picture.
He probably the most I know he's supposed to be some kind of comic relief or whatever, but probably the most unintentionally funny part of this movie is when he gets his back broken because he jumps on Jason. So he and this guy are playing some VR game where they're testing out. I don't get it, right, or whatever. But he has the funniest looking 4-barreled heavy gun. I've been playing a lot of Fallout recently. He's holding it. I'm like, he doesn't have a high enough heavy gun skill. I can just tell you that right now. He goes into VATS and he's got a 50% chance to hit. No, but he jumps this dude is I don't know how big Jason is, but he looks like he's 300 plus pounds, and he's just he's thick with 5 C's, and he's got a machete covered in blood, or a medical knife covered in blood, and his move, right, is to jump on him and try to choke him. What? When he got pulled over and his back broken, I started laughing out loud. I thought it was the funniest part of the movie to me.
It was funny. It was also just oh wait, that's it. That's okay. I guess that's all you need.
Yeah.
Kane Hodder is 6 foot.
Okay.
Even. I guess I expected him to be much taller. It says peak height was 6'2". I mean, I guess he's older and shrank. I don't know. Maybe his back.
It could just be cinematography.
Oh no! Yeah, the movie.
Yeah,
you mean there's movie magic in the movie?
Because Peter Mensah is 6'3".
Yeah,
and they're apparently just as tall as each other.
No, I just assumed. I guess I just assumed that the actor and stuntman that they would get to play Jason would be. I mean, he is physically imposing even at 6 foot, but Figured he'd be a lot taller.
Yeah.
Who?
But
Yeah.
that's other than Chuck the technician, who wins the award for a guy I thought was a very young Matthew Perry for 5 seconds.
Very young Matthew Perry.
I was like, that's not Matthew Perry. He's way too old to be in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give a shout out to, I already mentioned Lexa Doig and Lisa Ryder both being in Andromeda. Peak early 2000s, like super cheesy sci-fi. But I feel like Lisa Ryder, who plays the android robot, KM something 14. There's some numbers in there
KM
or whatever.
14.
She's in a lot of just science fiction. Probably not anything you would like. She just guest stars in this and that. And of course, she was in this. She was in Earth Final Conflict for a few episodes. Excuse me. The Strain. Yeah. Obviously, almost every episode of Andromeda. Alphas. She's in an episode of that.
Total Recall. 2070.
The TV series Total Recall from the late 90s. Yes, that exists.
We talked about it.
Was a Sci Factor.
She's in Kung Fu.
The legend continues. It's great. No, I really, I don't think she's the greatest actor of all time, but she's one of those like, oh, hey, it's her type. Yeah. You know, like you say that it's that guy. She's definitely that woman, I guess. Yeah. She's that guy for me. I really enjoy her work. Same with Lexa Doig. I like everything she's in.
Well,
but I think that she's doing a lot of like TV movies and series for like Hallmark or something like that. Like that's kind of where her career has taken her, which is all fine and good. Okay. I think the last thing you might have seen her in, but probably not, was in Arrow, where she plays Talia al Ghul.
I did see that.
Yeah, fantastic.
I maybe I don't remember.
We should.
And again, we made the joke. Anything after season 1 of the Arrow, season 1 or 2 of the Arrow, like it all blends together for me. I'm not sure if I remember exactly what happened.
100%. Okay, see here. Look at her filmography here. An Aurora Tea Gardens mystery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them.
She's making that money.
Busting them out. Oh yeah, she was in Continuum, which I loved. That's a real good show. Smallville, a couple episodes.
She's in
V, 1 episode of Supernatural, a few episodes of Eureka, underrated show. Maybe, I don't know. Several episodes of Stargate SG-1. So she's...
Which episode of Supernatural?
109 episodes of Andromeda. So she's definitely a fantastic working actress. And I know, like, I made fun of everybody for... I said everyone being in this film was an idiot, but you can be a great actor or actress or director and just pick the wrong project. And I really feel like this is probably just the wrong project for everyone involved. On the other hand, hey, you got paid. So maybe I can't really blame you that much.
You said it earlier, and I don't necessarily think that the concept is bad. I actually think that the idea of sending Jason forward in time would have really worked. Because I don't even think they kind of discussed it a little bit, but and I was going to bring this up earlier, but you think after almost 500 years, and this could be some Demolition Man stuff, like when there's a murder, death, kill, and there hasn't been one in 50 years and no one knows what to do, right? But they've got soldiers. They have soldiers with guns, so that they who are familiar and are they're trained, so they know how to use these weapons. And I think it might have had they just woken him up 500 years in the future, on Earth, instead of not having to go to space, I think that might have been really fun. Or maybe they send him to space and he's just floating through it, and then someone picks him up, and then that's how it happens. I think it could have been executed a lot better. I don't hate the concept. I like
the pitch. The 30-second pitch for this film is great.
Yeah.
Everything else just falls apart.
I don't even necessarily mind that he got rebuilt by the nanites. His design is kind of funky looking. He looks like the Super Shredder almost.
Discount Super Shredder.
Yeah. It's I don't know where this movie falls apart. And it could be the plot. It could be the acting. It could be the direction. I don't know. But I think it's not a terrible idea. And I'm sad that they never explored it again. But maybe that's because it's too much of a gimmick, right? Because I think the Leprechaun movies kind of did that they were like, we make this leprechaun movie. It's about this evil leprechaun who makes people's wishes, dreams come true, and then he kills them, right? Yeah. Spoilers. But then he goes to the hood, leprechaun in the hood, and he utters probably the single funniest line in any horror movie that I've ever seen, which is a friend with weed is a friend indeed. Warwick Davis says that. And, and then proceeds to indulge.
Yes.
I was watching it like, I was like 18 or 19 at the time, and I was like, that's the guy from Willow? What is he doing? Getting paid. And then I think he ends up going to space. I think this was just that era where you take these characters, you take these I don't want to say horror icons, but I would call Jason a horror icon for sure, but I see what you're saying. I'm not saying just horror icons. Like, it was just like there was that weird era in like 2002 to 2004 where there was always a sequel to a movie, and the sequel had to have a kid for whatever reason.
We had a great idea. You know what will increase its appeal?
Yeah.
We'll add a kid in so we can sell more merchandise to the kids.
Yeah. Like in The Mask of Zorro, when they have a daughter at the end of the movie, but in the sequel, all of a sudden is a boy. I don't know. It's not my place. It's not my place. It's not my place.
Are you misgendering that poor kid?
No, that's canon. I think this was the gimmick time. They were just like, we have no idea what to do. Studios are just giving money to anybody. I mean, this movie had an 11 to $14 million budget, which I'm not sure how you can have a discrepancy of $3 million, but it made $17 million at the box office. So it's not like it made money. It just didn't.
I think it didn't make enough back because of like marketing money and whatnot.
Right. Yeah. But Jim Isaac directed this. Let's look at Jim Isaac's filmography here real quick. Let's not look at Jim Isaac's filmography.
What's wrong with Jim Isaac's filmography? I'm pulling it up on the screen. Hold on. James Isaac.
Isn't much one. He did some special effects on Return of the Jedi. He's gone?
It says on his IMDb, 1960 to 2012.
Very sad. But he directed The Horror Show, Skinwalkers,
special effects for Existence,
and then Pig Hunt.
Yeah, he didn't do a lot as far as a director.
So
looks like it was mostly special effects.
Yeah,
all horror.
He did special effects for Deep Star 6. That's a good one. But yeah, I mean,
Look Who's Talking To?
Yeah, I mean, they gave Homeboy a shot, and it just didn't work out.
Enemy Mine. Oh, he was a creature technician on Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, so he probably did the Ewoks.
You think he did the Ewoks?
I can't think of any other creature in that movie.
Hold on, creature technician.
The Rancor.
That's not that movie.
Yeah, it is, because when the girl drops.
Oh, the Rancor. Sorry, I was thinking of the. There's a Rancor. I mean, there's also Jabba the Hutt. Any number of creatures inside Jabba's palace. Sorry, you said Rancor, and I was thinking of the Wampa for whatever reason. Yeah, I was like, that's the wrong movie, but I was wrong.
No,
I'm not going to defend it. Like, I don't think the directing is where this. Like, I don't think the directing in this movie is bad. I think it's mostly the script. But look, we're kind of splitting hairs. I really don't think there's any one person to blame for how bad this movie is. I think it was just doomed from the beginning.
Let's see. Production company, Crystal Lake Entertainment.
I mean, that's just...
Let's see. Who is the CEO of Crystal Lake Entertainment? Sam S. Cunningham.
Okay.
I'm going to blame him. We're
going to blame him.
He's the person to blame for this film.
We mentioned Supernatural. I didn't realize that Jared Padalecki played the lead in the Friday the 13th reboot. I don't think I knew who he was when I saw that. That's pretty good. Nice little, I guess Supernatural's been around forever. Like, everyone has been in an it's like in the used to be everyone was in an episode of Law and Order at some point. And then it was like CSI, and now it's also Supernatural.
Just started season 10 of Supernatural.
Oh.
Yeah, the darkness has arrived.
Can I attack the darkness? What's the role?
Yeah. The darkness.
The darkness. Overall, do not recommend, not worth the price of subscription. If you're a huge Friday the 13th nerd, you've already seen this. Otherwise, it is so skippable. Maybe if you are imbibing, you could enjoy it.
If you indulge.
If you indulge a little bit. I don't have an idiot of the movie because I think the list is too long. So I think I'm just going to stick with your choice of Dr. Wimmer, played by one David Cronenberg. What a wasted cameo.
Like when he showed up, I was like, "That's David Cronenberg."
I missed it entirely, but I was
guy.
mostly just like, "What is happening?
Yeah.
What is happening? What is happening?"
Yeah. The only reason why I even recognized him or knew what he looked like is because we watched Videodrome, and I saw his IMDb. Like I saw his IMDb,
Yeah.
so I knew what he looked like.
Gotcha.
Recently.
Gotcha.
So
what a stark departure.
how the mighty have fallen.
Now that we're finally out of horror and space month, give us one more, Chris.
Horror in space.
In space.
Kill.
We're finally done with horror and space month. We'll be back to our normally scheduled programming. If you have suggestions for other things we should watch, any other science fiction or science fiction adjacent television shows or movies, the more independent, the better. Send them our way, scifiwiseguys@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on the social media at scifiwiseguys.
Stay healthy, stay hydrated. And in 450 years, if you're listening to this and you're on the planet, do not revive me from a cryogenic pod because I'll kill you. And everyone on your spaceship.
And somehow blow that spaceship up with my machete. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Eagle has landed.
Today's World Arthritis Day. I don't know if you can see that.
Nope, don't see it.
Bottom right-hand corner. Oh, right there.
Oh, there it is.
So today everybody gets arthritis.
Fucking A, dude.
I don't know if that's what that means.